It's a different attitude when you're a grandparent, man. Kids come over, the grandkids come over, you fill them up with sugar, man, because that's your love language. So you're giving it to your grandkids, and then you hand them on back to the parents, and it's like they just did an 8-ball of cocaine, and you can't calm them down, and it's not good for them. So Erin wanted our help last week with a texting tutor to hit her mother-in-law up and go, hey, I know you guys are showing her the love with all the sugar and all, but can you cool it this weekend when you have the kids? Because we're really trying to do a health pivot here. Man, we could have been in here for 4 hours texting with that mother-in-law. What a pain in the ass. And she just was digging in and digging in and digging in. So it didn't end well, our texting tutor. It just was kind of hanging there, actually.
Well, I mean, we involved doctors and we involved medical tests, and she essentially, the mother-in-law, called us out. Like, she was like, I think you're just saying all of this so I don't give them sugar, and you're ruining our weekend. I had a big weekend planned. We were going to go to a candy store, and I was going to get them a bunch of Valentine's Day candy since I'm not going to see them for Valentine's Day. And then everything ended with her saying, I'm going to contact your husband. And if I'm remembering the words correctly, so he can get his house in order.
I think that was it.
Was that it?
That was it.
That was it. I think that was it. And I think that's how the texting tutor ended.
And the mother-in-law is like, they can only have juvenile diabetes while they're juveniles. Okay, so I've got a goal. Hey, Erin, how did it go this weekend?
Well, I imagine you can pretty much guess that the texting exchange with her about the sugar intake, it didn't go well.
Yeah.
Not at all. Yeah. She did follow through on her threat, like she mentioned. She ended up calling my husband in tears. And, of course, you know, he fell for that. That's his mom. And you know, of course, he completely took her side, which is not a shock at all. So, yeah, he didn't care for what was stated. He was extremely livid. The fact that I lied about a doctor visit. So it put me on the side of being the villain about lying about that. And it really, you know, hurt her feelings. And no one really saw my side, that all I wanted for my kids was to eat something that wasn't 90% corn syrup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we got a reoccurring theme on the show here. It's just that dude's not manning up, you know, like standing up.
Yeah.
This is what your wife wants. This is what we decided as a family. You did decide that as a family, right? About the sugar thing?
You know, it was more me than him.
Oh, he didn't know. That kind of changes things.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, so
no, I kind of went rogue on that.
Well, here's the problem is that he didn't buy into all that. So when your mother-in-law gave pushback rather than him saying, you know what, this is my wife.
Yep.
That's my number one woman right there. He doesn't feel like it's a big deal, so he wouldn't man up to his mom over it, right?
Right, exactly. Yep. So it wasn't looking pretty. I mean, we fought with each other and just escalated. You know, tensions were obviously high. And with all that going on, we ended up canceling the plans. So there wasn't a need to have them babysit after all, which, you know, to me worked out because that I didn't want my kids on sugar and hyped up the whole week that I had to deal with them being sick. So unfortunately, he took it upon himself, since we weren't speaking, to go ahead and take he decided to take the kids over to his parents' house anyways, and without notifying me.
Oh,
right?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I get him wanting to defend Mom, but I still feel like he should have understood the bottom line of all of this enough to understand that he should have been on the right side of history here.
Like, is this not a common thought? Or maybe there's a debate here that, and maybe we've talked about this before, that your mom is always your number one versus your mom becomes number two once you get married.
Technically, like, Your spouse is supposed to be number one, and then if you have kids, your kids are your number two, and then everybody else is number three.
Honestly, it seemed obvious to me. I mean, as a man who has always been like number one to his mom, and his mom has been number one to me, I'm not even married yet, but I'm with my girlfriend 70% of my life. I'm choosing her. It just makes my life easier. It seems pretty easy.
The numbers are numbering.
Yeah, the math is mathing for me.
That's what I don't understand is why wouldn't you want to make the person you spend literally every single day and night with the happiest? Like, I understand you're a mama's boy. She raised you. You want to show her respect. But at the end of the day, like, I want my life to be as easy as possible. And I'm doing that by placating the person I am sleeping next to every night.
If we did a poll, like, which is the more popular side, that mom is always number one no matter who you get married, or mom becomes number two once you got married, what would the split be, you think?
I thank my lucky stars that I do not have to deal with this with my husband and his mother. And I'm thinking about my friend group and looking at my friend group, and doesn't have an issue, has an issue. Doesn't have an issue, has an issue. I'm going to say 50-50.
50-50 thing.
I think before I started the show, I would have said 50-50. Now I think 70-30. Dudes go with their mother.
Yeah, everyone's calling up. It's 80-20 for me.
Yeah. So how are you guys planning on rectifying this?
Well, I honestly, I need help, because I feel, he took her side, and the kids were exactly like I told y'all. They ended up going to the candy store, like the mother-in-law mentioned through the text, and just came home with pillowcases of sugar and candy. I mean,
digging
Halloween
in
level, right?
Yeah.
It's just, obviously a huge jab. Everyone wanted to stick it to me, right? And so I honestly, I don't know what to do. I'm extremely frustrated. I'm outnumbered in this, and my husband's not even on my side. And like y'all said, we're supposed to be partners in this, and I feel like I'm going to give up, but my kids are going to be sick. So I don't know.
Well, there's so much more. I don't mean to make it worse, but there's more here. There's conversation about him not having your back. I mean, that's why allegedly you're supposed to get married and be in love, is like, I got you no matter what, boo. Like, out there, I will always have you. Now, when we get into the house, we might argue about it a little bit, but in front of everybody else, I got you. So this is more than sugar and the kids also, and I think there's a conversation there.
Yeah, that's how I was always raised, that if we could fight in the house and not being on the same team in the house, but when we go out this house, it's always us against the world.
Vanessa here says we made one big-time flaw. Hey, Vanessa.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
So it actually made me cringe when you guys decided to go the route of bringing in doctors and a medical diagnosis, because, first of all, obviously that was never going to go over. The mom is going to call her son and verify, and he's going to be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So as soon as she did that, she's automatically the villain, because she's not only, in the mother-in-law's eyes, like, trying to keep her kids away from the grandkids away from her, but she's making up this like elaborate medical diagnosis. Like, it was just the wrong way to go about it from the start. She just really needed to dig in and be honest that, like, hey, I don't mind a little bit of spoiling the kids, but we have to keep it to a minimum. And I think this would have gone a way different way.
Yeah, I coined a phrase a while ago that caught on, and that's called that ship has sailed. And people have picked up on that.
That's a good one.
I also coined one too. Told you so.
Hey, Jen, good morning. You think you can help out here?
I don't know, but I do know that I feel terrible for this mother from so many different perspectives. I'm married. I can't imagine if my spouse didn't have my back like that. I am a young mom. I have a 4-year-old daughter, and I'm a type 2 diabetic, and sugar is literally poisoning our kids. It's making us overweight. It's causing all kinds of health issues. And it just feels really icky that the family would not get behind this mother and support her. And it feels, I feel really bad for her. But diabetes is a real thing, and that is something for her to really worry about. And I have to talk to my little 4-year-old about it. She'll say, Mommy, does this juice have sugar in it? And I feel bad. Like, am I overdoing it with her? But my spouse has my back, so I feel for her, and I hope that they can get on board behind her.
Thank you for calling. And if you have a problem with your 4-year-old and explaining that, we can text the 4-year-old for you. That's why we call it texting tutor. All right, Aaron, good luck with that. You really are in a tight spot there, and I'm sorry we couldn't help you out better.
All right, thanks. Appreciate it.
I think we should coin a new term called divorce, and that's what should happen after this conversation.
The Bert Show.